Today on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, we are coming to you with the NFC South breakdown. Let's talk to the guys.
That may have been the weakest intro I've ever seen.
Shut up, Joe.
Seen better, seen worse.
I'll stop this right now. We'll have to start all over. Then JJ will be mad because he's got to get out of here, even though he's finally making an appearance.
Hey, I have a strict Warzone schedule, bro.
Oh, my goodness. Can I get in? No. Welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. I am your host, joined as always by Joe and sometimes by JJ.
I'm a busy man.
I'm mad at many talents.
Yeah, he's real good at doing things that he probably shouldn't be doing.
Roasting marshmallows.
Roasting marshmallow. It was a rough 4th of July for JJ.
It wasn't 4th of July, it was after. But yeah, to the listeners, I burned my leg and it got infected. I may have consumed some alcoholic beverages and burned my leg, but we're on antibiotics. We're good.
So
I think the moral of the story.
So in other words, JJ, you have a sexy leg right now, is what you're saying.
I'm repping Alex Smith, making him proud.
No, better. I got it. He's part of the Jets fandom now. He's going gangrene.
Yeah, I like that.
Nailed it.
Anyway,
oh man,
JJ, that's a nice jersey you have behind you. You want to tell us all about that? 2 jerseys.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to go that crazy. I ordered the blue one as soon as they were available online, and it didn't come. And I couldn't find like my record of even buying it. So I was like, was I just drunk and I never ordered it? So I ordered the white one, and the white one came in, and then randomly, literally today, this one just gets to my door. So no idea what happened, but now I have a home and away Fields jersey. So
that's right. Now you need to go to a home and away games this year.
Might go to the Halloween game at Soldier Field.
That's good. You can dress up as a winning fan. That's kind of a pretend thing for Halloween, so it's perfect for you.
Oh God. Joe.
Oh boy.
I'm not gonna touch it. Yeah, I just feel sorry for you. So my team was in the playoffs last year, all right?
It's all right. My rookie's gonna be better than yours, so.
All right, boys. Do we have anything we need to discuss before we get breaking into this breakdown?
Yeah, give us the news drop.
What if I'm not prepared to do that?
I'll wait.
Never mind that. Never mind that, heckling fandom. Never mind what just happened.
I think you were right. You weren't prepared.
What's new?
That took a minute to get going.
News updates.
Talk dirty to me. Yeah, so anyway, the NFL. What were you going to say?
I still can't with this drop. You love it, and I just can't stand it. I'm the one who created this drop, and I hate it.
I love the drop.
I hate it.
Anyway, the franchise tag time to extend a player has passed, and Allen Robinson and Chris Godwin aren't signed by anyone. Any thoughts, JJ?
No. I mean, I went on the Irish Bears show, and they asked me the same thing. I did not anticipate they'd get a deal done. They didn't. They're probably going to franchise tag him again next year, depending on the situation with the cap. So they got a couple guys they need to extend. I think they want to see how good Mooney is in his second year, and then they'll make a decision. So Bears are in the driver's seat, really. They can just tag him again if they need him. So it's exactly what I expected.
All right, let's go away from the field of your expertise. Do you see Chris Godwin getting tagged again next year?
I think a lot of it may have to do with Brady because they're going to have guys that they have to extend too. Mm-hmm. And they've spent a lot of money retaining all those stars. So they'll have to make some tough decisions. I would not be shocked if they don't bring him back, I haven't
Mhm.
looked at the numbers on Mike Evans' contract, but it would make sense that they move on from Evans maybe after.
So,
I don't know. It's
so,
a
so
tough call.
yeah, it is a tough call. And I think this kind of depends on what Brady's going to do after this year. So if Brady decides he's going to play for another 2 or 3 years, which, with smoothies and stuff, apparently you can play to year 50. If they do that, I could see them actually moving on from Godwin, maybe extending Brown on a cheaper deal to a few years and keeping Evans because he seems to like Brown, and we'll go into that a little bit more tonight. But I think if Brady ends up leaving, I think they'll want to keep their younger player in Godwin. They'll let Brown move on. So that's what I could see happening. With other franchise players today, too, I believe there was 8 franchise players that were looking at potential extensions, too. There was only one sign, and it was the right tackle, Taylor Monton for the Panthers. And Moton. I'm saying his name wrong. But yeah, he was the only one that got extended, so no one really hugely relevant for fantasy unless you're looking at CMC's rushing ability with the right tackle there, which anything helps, I guess. So that's really the only thing you've got to look at there. Any thoughts on that, Ron, while you're messing with stuff over there?
Actually, I was looking up Mike Evans' contract. Looks like he is signed through 2023. He'll become an unrestricted free agent before the 2024 season. This year he'll have a 13 million in dead cap, followed by 8 million next year, and then a 4 million in the 2023 season. So
it sounds like 2023 would be the year that they would probably cut him if they could.
Won't cut him, and he's kind of like Allen Robinson, where he's 27 years old, and you're like, how is this guy 27 years old? He's been around forever, but he still
feels like it.
So they won't cut him. I just Godwin's a little bit younger, but we'll see.
Why have one when you can have both? They seem to be able to work salary cap magic up there anyway. They re-signed everyone this year.
Yeah, they got it all figured out.
I don't know how. He's a magician up there. I think the only other news that we have here, and it's not really highly fantasy relevant, is I think spouses need to stop hitting each other. So Dwayne Haskins' girlfriend apparently hit him, and she's in jail. And Richard Sherman has something going on. It seems like a lot. So hopefully that gets cleared up and he gets his life together, and hopefully we see him in a year or two. I don't know how that's going to work, but there's a lot going on there too. I don't feel like it's a very positive outcome for that, but hopefully it works out for all parties there. And again, just don't hit your spouse. It's pretty simple.
I mean, really don't hit anybody.
Yeah, pretty easy.
If you're an adult, like there's adult way to handle things. I mean,
yell at each other on a show like we do.
Right, exactly. It's so great. I've met one of these two in person. I'm like, I didn't hit him. I don't think I did.
Sure he wanted to.
I was too busy winning our sabotage mock draft for that.
Just not his fantasy leagues.
Oh, now that everyone can see, this is our massive league trophy here.
Massive. So big.
Don't worry, he'll flash that up during many episodes when
if I win one, it's going to be massive. Like,
see, JJ, when you move, what you're going to do is you're going to put your camera back farther, and you're just going to find a place on the desk where you can see it in the screen.
You don't tell him what he's going to do.
Yeah,
can't see it. Hold on, let's try something.
Now you can. There it is. Yeah.
Now, there we go. Oh yeah, and we'll throw that up there too.
Block it.
All the fun stuff.
That's all right. He's going to be shipping that into a box to me at the end of the season, so it's cool.
Oh yeah. All right, let's get into this NFC South breakdown. We're done messing around. It's been too long already, and this is why it's garbage time, because we go off on things like this.
True.
Our shows end up way longer than they need to be. All right, so we'll start with the reigning Super Bowl champs. They won the division. Some say they're definitely going to win the division again this year. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who wants to start this out?
Let our absentee start this out.
How is Ryan going to start it out?
Well, we have 2 absentees.
I'm not an absentee. I'm here.
He's here, yeah.
I guess we're starting with QB. Just in general about the Bucs, I probably won't draft any, to be perfectly honest with you, unless Evans and Godwin fall pretty far in the draft. I don't ever wind up with Bucks on my team. There's too many weapons there, and I hate to be this guy because there's, it gets said every year, but he's up there. He came out today that he had a torn MCL. He had knee surgery. So you know what? How long can he keep doing it?
Pretty damn old.
He's what, the oldest guy in the NFL now? The Vinatieri formerly retired. So I just don't find myself with Buccaneers. Brady will probably throw for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns with no rushing stats. So, take him in the later rounds if you want, but I'm not really that attached to any Bucs players this year. I don't know about you guys.
All right, so I guess I'll drop into this next. So there's 2 Bucs that I like this year, but that's only because I believe they're going to be later round values. One of them being Tom Brady. I'll get into the other one after. I'm guessing you can probably assume the other one. But I've got Tom Brady actually statted out pretty well this year. I've got him at, with the added game, 4,700 yards. That's 276 yards a game, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 18 rushing yards on 3 touchdowns because they love to just throw him in the end zone on the 1-yard line. So I think he's going to have a pretty good season, and I think he's going to be a very good value in the later rounds of drafts, especially in snake formats. Might be able to get him cheaper during auction leagues. Point differentials are typically a lot less with QBs as opposed to the other positions where you have elite running backs, and it's a lot less going down the line or receivers. So I see him as a pretty good value in drafts where you're getting him later.
Joe, I wasn't listening. What was the yardage you had him for?
I've got him for 4,700, which is 276 yards a game, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 18 yards rushing with 3 TDs.
12 interceptions. That's a lot of interceptions.
Going to be a high-flying offense this year.
He threw 12 last year.
Did he?
Yeah.
I just think he's going to be way more efficient than that. I've got him throwing for just over 5,000 yards.
Jeez, what are we going to win another Super Bowl? God.
I mean,
just go on. I don't want to live through this nightmare again. Move on.
Anyways, 36 touchdowns, but I got him having a much, more efficient year and only throwing for 6 interceptions. I think he's got wide receivers that will fight for the ball, and I just believe another year in this offense, he's going to do better. In the Bruce Arians offense, it generally takes a whole year for quarterbacks to learn it and not be like high turnover with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the pattern continues and he throws for a lot less interceptions this year.
I sure as hell hope you're wrong.
I don't know, man. You look at his numbers. He threw for 4,600 yards and 40 touchdowns last year, which is, the way they started, you didn't think he had that good a year, especially the way the Bears contained him. But that's another story. But yeah, that's right. 4. That was the first 4, not the Sons and 4 guy. It was Brady to the Bears.
Yeah, so that's right.
I don't know. I don't know that he can replicate that.
But people have been saying this every year for the past 10 years.
Be that guy,
right?
2014.
I'm not doing it anymore because if we stop doing it, it'll finally happen.
But I'll be the first one to get it right.
I'll be so elated if I'm wildly wrong on all of these.
No, he'll be fine. If he's your fantasy quarterback, you're fine. And he'll have some amazing games, I'm sure.
Me too. If the Bucs miss the playoffs, I'll do the 24-hour Waffle House challenge.
We'll talk about that, he says. All right, we'll move on to the running backs. You got Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette are probably the top 2 in this offense.
Giovanni Bernard, if you're feeling ballsy, but I don't think he's going to be very productive.
Yeah, I think it's going to be these 2. I think they're going to end up splitting time, and it's going to end up looking a lot like it did last year. I do think that Ronald Jones has the initial jump at the position, I suppose, is how I'll say it. I do have him for 245 rushing attempts on the year. Just over 1,000 yards, which again, if you've been listening, 1,000 yards for wide receivers and running backs, or anyone really, on a 17-game season is not that hard. It's something like 50 yards a game. I keep statting people out and they come over 1,000 yards and I'm like, really? And it's like, that's not a lot, really.
There's many running backs that have plotted their way to 1,000 yards.
Right, that's what I mean. Like,
he also ran for 978 last year, so he almost got it last year in 16.
Right, yeah. So I don't think it's too far-fetched. And then I got Fournette for 161 rushing yards for 161 attempts for 611 yards. So once I speak the right words,
they come out right.
They come out correctly, as they say.
Spending too much
English
time
language. I did work all day, so I'm a little tired.
Oh, you weren't the only one. I think we both worked too. Well, maybe not, JG. I don't know if you did or not.
I did.
Yeah, but he's all infected. He'll probably be a zombie by the end of the show.
I'm on antibiotics. I worked. I'm infected. I should have the excuses here.
You can have all the excuses you want. It doesn't change the fact that I'm tired.
I worked. Then I worked out, so I'm pumped up for this.
See, you got everything going. I see what you did. That was smart. Maybe I'd do that.
Blood's flowing.
Joe worked out, but he missed the sleeveless memo here.
Yeah, I definitely missed the memo. I missed it all summer, though.
My air conditioner is not working in my house, and I'm very warm.
It's nice and 68 degrees here.
Shut up, Joe.
I can't get to 68 degrees because it's like 94 out with 80% humidity.
All right, let's move on to the wide receivers and off the weather.
What? So we don't get to talk about the running backs?
Well, you guys went on about other things. Just go.
Fine. All right. I'll go then. All right. So I've got this being a very split backfield. I've got Leonard Fournette with 140 attempts, and I've got Ronald Jones with 165. Ronald Jones is going to have 720 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 110s receiving. Leonard Fournette, I've got him at 650 yards, which comes out to 4.6 yards a carry off of those number of attempts that I had him at. 5 touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdown. So it's going to be a very split backfield, very close to 50-50.
So you've got the whole team rushing for only like 360 so attempts.
Yeah, airmail, baby. A lot of weapons to throw to, man. And Brady's offense over the years was typically the screen game. What would be different here?
No James White.
Get off it. These are my stats.
All right.
I'll cover the running backs. I don't give a shit what the stats are. I'm not drafting either of them.
I also am not. Ronald Jones has shown even last year, like, he's wildly inconsistent, and Bruce Arians will just pull him off the field whenever he feels like it. Bruce Arians just like, you looked at me funny right now. You're coming off the field.
Isn't there another second-year running back they have here, too, that hasn't even hit the field because he fumbles a lot, too?
Vaughn.
That's right. Keyshawn Vaughn, and he's buried on the depth chart.
He'll probably lead in carries.
Yeah, probably.
Screw that situation.
All right, we'll move on to the wide receivers if that's okay with the peanut crew here. The top 3 on the depth chart, I know Joe has statted out more. The top 3 on the depth chart are Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. Who do we think is the target leader out of this team?
I've got Mike Evans in receptions, but I've got someone else pretty statted very closely in yards. So I've got 2 guys.
I think Godwin.
I've got all 3 of them statted out very close in yards.
I've got 2 of them statted out closely and then 1 kind of dipping.
All right, so I've got Antonio Brown as their leading target guy.
Wow.
I'm pretty close to that.
When he came in halfway through the year, and you take away like the first game or 2 when he was really acclimating, he was the target leader. Brady, for some reason, has a mind meld with Antonio Brown, and he likes to target him. I've got Antonio Brown for 147 targets.
What?
Targets, not receptions. Targets.
Okay. Who knows about to throw my shit up in the air?
105 receptions for 1,197 yards. 9
Too high.
touchdowns.
Too high.
1,197 yards.
Yeah, like 1,200 yards.
Okay.
And then I've got Godwin at 120 targets, 84 receptions, just under 1,300 yards. He's the yardage leader. And then I've got Evans at 60 receptions for just under 1,000 yards with 11 touchdowns. I think he's the touchdown guy. JJ disagrees. This is why we needed JJ. Go, JJ, go.
I think that's way too much. Way too many stats for AB, especially with the rushing carries that you talked about. I think it's going to be Godwin, Evans, AB yards wise. I think AB's.
What do you mean with the rushing carries that I was talking about?
You the total of carries that you had for Jones and Fournette. I can't remember the exact figures, but it was a pretty high number. Like it sounds like they're.
It was a little less. It was a little less than 400 between the two of them on the year.
Those are like almost Titans numbers.
That is less than what they did last year.
Okay.
Per game, that is less than what they ran for last year.
Okay, 17 games. Okay, yeah, the carries are gonna be higher, but
I've also got Brady throwing for 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
God.
Well, yeah, if that's what you have. See, I don't think he's gonna throw for 5,000 yards, and I don't think. I just think Godwin's gonna lead, followed by Evans.
I've got Godwin in the lead for yardage, just because I think Antonio Brown is going to be more the quick passing game out of the slot. Weird gadget type of passes. So I think his reception total will be higher, but it's going to be a smaller depth of target where Godwin will be going, like the intermediate routes.
Godwin's kind of their catch, kind of like A.J. Brown, where he catches it over the middle of the field and racks up the yak. So,
I'm sure they'll move all three of them around a lot anyways, but I think Antonio Brown.
This is what I'm talking about. That's why I'm not drafting these guys, because you can't figure it out. And one's going to have 150 yards one game and the other one will have 20 yards. And
I do believe that Antonio Brown is going to be your most consistent fantasy wide receiver from this team.
Very possible.
Because I think he gets the most targets.
And the highest value because he's going the latest out of all of these three.
He's going pretty late.
He's a great value. I believe 9th.
I actually have Antonio Brown is going the end of the 10th round.
Ha! See, got it.
You're so smart.
Such a smart guy.
I'm glad you're here.
All right. So do I get to talk about the wide receivers now?
You're the tiebreaker.
Go for it.
Well, you two are going to jump down my throat for how I've got one of these guys statted, but that's okay.
You probably got someone that's not even on the depth chart anymore.
Well, I listed Scotty Miller here too, but he's only my 4th guy, but he's not going nuts like one of these guys. Anyway, I've got a Julio Jones-like year for one of these guys from last year. So here we go. All right, so I've got Mike Edmonds statted out for 75 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Obviously, the red zone target. He's the guy that jumps up and gets the ball for him. He's going to have his games where he has 2 touchdowns in certain ones and 100 yards in other games with no touchdowns. So he's wildly inconsistent in that standpoint, but he's still a very good wide receiver for fantasy. Just needs to be more consistent, but he's still a good wide receiver. I've got Antonio Brown for 80 receptions, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, and that comes out to 13 yards a catch. Like you said, Brady just has this propensity to go to him, and when he came onto the team too, he was highly consistent with him, and Antonio Brown was playing well with him even when the other two were on the roster. I believe he's going to be heavily targeted by him, and the receiver that's going to have a disappointing year, and a lot of it has to do with his injury coming back too, is going to be Chris Godwin. I've got him at 60 receptions, 720 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He's going to take a dip just like he did last year. So this year's Julio is Chris Godwin.
You are a fool.
And Scotty Miller is going to have 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. And, I was a fool about Julio Jones last year, too. And
you're the
one that had the shit all over your face. So guess what?
Time out.
Is the one that's not going to be
Time out. First off, Julio Jones was 31 last year when you made this prediction. Chris Godwin is
okay.
25.
And what did Chris Godwin go from last year? How many yards did he have last year, Ron? Was it less than 1,000 yards? He had almost 1,500 the year before, and he went to under 1,000. So why the hell can't he have 741 yards?
Because he's not switching from air it out Winston to efficient Brady. He's going to have similar year to what he did last year.
He wasn't
maybe a little less.
He wasn't having good numbers even when Antonio Brown came in. So Antonio Brown was heavily targeted.
What is your perception of Julio Jones from last year when he was on the field?
Injured and hurt. And guess who was hurt last year?
When he was on the field.
Yeah. Well, guess what? It's going to be Chris Godwin this year. So guess what? Read the tea leaves again. I'm going to be right 2 years in a row.
You're deflecting the question.
Joe, say the stats one more time.
I've got Chris Godwin at 60 receptions, 720 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
You can log off now if you'd like.
Listen.
Oh, that is so adorable because I did this stuff last year and I was right.
You weren't right, though. You were right about injury. Can I tell you something?
Right.
How well did Julio Jones play week 1 when he was on the field?
Oh, he was fine.
He was the wide receiver 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then injured. You're right. And then he came back for 4 games.
And then injured because of his age, because I predicted that, and I told you he was going to fall off because of his age, and he did.
Godwin, he didn't fall off. He got injured.
They have enough weapons around them where someone's going to have to take the fade. It's going to be Chris Godwin. They did franchise him, but they're going to fade him out of the offense.
They're not going to fade him out of the offense.
Yes, they will.
Why would they fade? Okay. Why would they fade the youngest wide receiver they have that is relevant out of their offense?
Because he's coming off an injury still this year. They also have Scotty Miller there. They have 3 other tight ends they can get it to. They have running backs they can throw it to, and they have 2 other good wide receivers. Someone has to take the dip, and it's going to be Godwin.
So the games that Julio Jones played last year, just for reference, and actually finished the games, he was never worse than a wide receiver 2. And I wouldn't consider that a fall off.
What does it matter? Staying on the field. It doesn't matter what games you play if you're not on the field. But that has nothing to do with
still a good player.
Chris Godwin might be on the field, but he's going to be nothing more than an albatross.
And you're saying, when did Antonio Brown join this team? Was it
halfway through the year?
It was like week 11.
He played 8 or 9 games.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go from week 10 on, where Godwin finishes, wide receiver 2. Oh, look, a wide receiver 2. Oh, look, again, a wide receiver 2. There was a couple bad ones there, 14 and 15. Oh, look, wide receiver 15. Oh, look, the last week of the year, wide receiver 5.
Okay, still not stat it all out. He's still a wide receiver 2. Someone's going to fade. Antonio Brown's going to have the numbers, and Evans is going to be the one that's healthy. So you can add that to our bold prediction wall.
Evans, who historically is banged up with hamstring injuries and everything else, you're predicting is going to be the healthy.
And not to mention when he was on, he was on the field, he was getting 1 target, 1 catch for a 1-yard touchdown for like the first 5 weeks of the season.
Whatever, boys. I was right. I'm going to be right on this one. Add this to the bold prediction wall.
I think
you're going to the Waffle House. That's all I have to say.
Oh my goodness.
Great content there.
You know what's cool about this, JJ, that I found out about using StreamYard now? There's this wonderful thing where I can now mute people and put them in timeout like that.
I see it. Yeah.
So that's a fun feature.
Joe should have been putting time out before he even started talking about the wide
receiver. But the thing is, I couldn't do this for the last episode because it was just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
We have got to move on though, because we were spending way too much time on the. You're unmuted now, Joe. By the way, I just had to throw that in there. I thought it was the relevant time for it.
Look at our chat bar.
Let's get into look at our chat bar. Oh, I'm so far away from that. All right. Let's move on to the tight ends real quick. We got. I did OJ Howard and Gronk. I don't think OJ Howard's going to do much because he's coming off that Achilles, and when people come off Achilles, they generally don't do much. So I do have Gronk coming back and being a little Gronky this year. I'm a little bit higher on him this year than I was last year. I learned my lesson. I do have him for 54 catches and 711 yards on the year. 5 touchdowns. Nothing huge or anything like that, but I do think it's going to be kind of a boomer bust season for fantasy for him, where one game he'll get you the touchdown and then you're really happy you had him on your team, and the other games he might just get you a few catches for 50 yards, which, let's face it, in tight ends in fantasy, you're just happy when he doesn't put up a 0. Like,
all true.
How do you guys feel about these tight ends?
Continue my trend. I won't touch them. That's a luxury the Bucs have. They can game plan for their opponent, and any week, any one of these guys can go off. So I don't see a lot of consistency. There's going to be games where Gronk has 3 touchdowns, and then there's going to be a game where Gronk has 1 target, no yards. So I won't have either of these guys on my squad. But inserting O.J. Howard in this offense is interesting, and I think he'll probably – I can't remember their deal with the 5th-year option. I don't think they picked it up, so I think he could leave after this year.
Well, the thing is, I think if he doesn't have a great season this year, they might be able to sign him real cheap for a couple-year deal, and because Gronk isn't going to play forever either. So they might be able to get him cheap for a couple-year deal because he's insanely talented. He played 4 games last year, and in 2 of them in one game he was number 8 tight end, and the other one he was number 5 tight end. So I mean, he's a talented player.
100%.
He is. All right, call me Mr. Parody. So not a lot of parody for this one. I think Gronk will have a average year for what a lot of tight ends are. I've got him for 640. I don't think that's a lot of yards for the 17th game. I think he'll be the number 1 here with 6 touchdowns. So pretty good year for tight ends. Could put him close to the top 10. O.J. Howard, I've got him 120 yards, 1 touchdown. I don't think he's going to do much. And Cameron Brate, who's a little bit more of a pass catcher than him, I've got him at 20 catches, 2 touchdowns, and 250 yards. So I think they'll sprinkle it around, and Gronk will be the highest scoring one.
They should go get Jeremy Sprinkle.
I would love that.
All right, we can't go on to that.
Next team.
We can't. Next team.
We've
run through one team so far. I know we got to speed up just a little bit, but I know this next team is probably going to cause another argument. So let's go to the New Orleans Saints.
Let's start this off at the top.
Joe, you have the floor, my friend.
All right, let's cause some more parody and fireworks up in here so JJ can start screaming at me again. So, all right, first thing you have to do is ask yourself, who's going to end up with the starting job this year? And it's obviously going to be Taysom Hill. That's not rude. All right, anyway, so I've got Taysom Hill statted out this year. It was very difficult to stat him out because there was really only a few games you could get him off of last year because he only started 3 or 4 games. So I've got him at 4,284 yards passing.
What in the fuck?
Listen, you take his 3 games. No. You are not interrupting me. You can get to it after, okay? Mute him, Ron, or this is going to be a long hour.
Continue on, Joe. I will have order in the
court. Yards. You did not do that.
Listen, 17 games. The 3 games where he actually passed very well. He averaged 252.3 yards a game. I statted that out over 17 games. That came to 4,284 yards. I've got him only at 23 touchdowns, so chill out. I'm not giving him 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, but he's going to have 790 yards rushing and 7 TDs. So he's going to be a multi-threat QB. And I've got Taysom Hill statted out at 0 because he's not going to get any starts. 0 yards.
I agree with what you just said. I don't think you realize what you said, but I agree.
I'm sorry. Jameis Winston is getting 0 yards this year for nothing. He's going to be the backup.
How much money you want to put on it?
I ain't putting money on this at all. He's on my team. I'm just happy he's on my team. So, if I get to beat you with him in our Dynasty League, I'm going to be real happy.
If Taysom Hill throws for 4,000 yards this year, I will stay in a Waffle House for a week. He's not a quarterback. He's not going to start because he's not a quarterback. End of discussion.
I hope you're putting extra syrup on those waffles in that waffle.
Hold on, timeout from the game. What did you have Taysom Hill's passing stats for?
4,284 yards, and that is 252.3 yards a game over 17 games. And the reason why I did that is because if you go to the middle of the season, he's got 3 games where you actually see a pretty good progression on his stats. and they average out to 252.3 yards a game. So that's where I statted it out over 17 yards a game because he's a hard projection to find.
I didn't ask for the whole breakdown. I just wanted the yardage.
Well, you got the whole breakdown.
What's the touchdown? What's the touchdowns?
23 touchdowns.
So
seven rushing.
So I statted out Jameis Winston. And I statted out Jameis Winston off of his I did a modified version of his career averages.
Oh no.
Okay, over 17 games.
That's a lot of picks.
His career averages, so it's a little bit lower than the 30. It's 13 interceptions, by the way. It's quite a few. But I've got him at 4,250 yards, 25 touchdowns. And those are off of his career averages. Now, I'm not saying that there's a 0% possibility that Taysom Hill is the starter for the season, even maybe the whole season. I mean, I'm not going to say that he won't be, but I will say that on their official depth chart, and I know it's a little early to really go by that, but they do have Jameis as the QB1. And the fact that you have Taysom Hill over 4,000 passing yards when he's a primary running first. I swear to God, if you bring up the 3 whole games where he had decent passing numbers, that's not going to be the normal. I don't care. Look at Lamar Jackson.
He did it in 3 out of 4 games. He can obviously pass, and 253 yards a game is not a lot.
Okay, but Lamar Jackson barely doesn't even throw for over 4,000 because he's a run-first quarterback.
I've got him running for 790 yards too, so obviously he's going to be running.
Right, but you've got, with those numbers, you've got him probably as a top 5 fantasy quarterback.
No, dude, it's over 17 games. It doesn't mean he's going to be top 5. He's going to be good. He could be top 10, but he's not going to be top 5.
Rushing yards?
700 rushing yards.
Over 4,000 yards.
Okay, so 800 rushing yards with how many rushing touchdowns? 7?
7.
Cam Newton last year finished as a top 10 quarterback in fantasy, throwing for 7.
I said he would be top 10, but it's extended over an extra game. He's
but
not
what I'm
going to be
saying,
top
he's
5.
going
He
to
could
be
be top
5.
If he starts, he could be top 10.
If he puts up the numbers that you just said, that will make him a top 5 fantasy quarter.
Not necessarily with the extra game, because if you take the game away, it's at 30, potentially 3,900 yards with those rushing. It still puts him in the top 10, but it's not as insane as it looks.
Just stop at the top 5. The fact that you're saying top 10 is just fucking ludicrous.
If he starts, he could be top 10.
If Taysom Hill starts and plays full 17 games, I do believe that he will finish a top 10 quarterback.
Go back to those 3 weeks that I'm talking about. It's in the middle of the season. Where did he stat out at fantasy quarterbacks those 3 weeks?
He was.
Hold on.
In those 4 weeks, he was number 4, number 11, number 8, number 11.
So you couldn't be top 10, huh? Because he was in fucking top 10.
No. I never said he couldn't be top 10. I'm saying where you have him statted, that will be a top 5 quarterback, and I don't think he can get there. Yes, he did it one time, but
Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, all these guys have finished QB1 in a week before, but they don't finish in the top 10 for a reason, just like Taysom Hill won't.
I'm either going to look really bad or like a fucking genius.
Let me ask you.
You say that about every single one of your takes.
Who are the top 2?
I'm not been wrong on many.
Who are the top 2 stars on the Saints?
On the Saints?
Michael Thomas and Alvin
Kamara and Michael Thomas.
Yeah, what do they like to do? They talk. And they bitch if they don't get the ball. So do you think they're going to want that goofy asshole stealing all their goal line touchdowns and not being able to throw them the ball because Taysom Hill can't even throw a spiral half the time? No. He's not starting. He's not top 10. He's not 15. He's not top 20. He's a backup.
If he's going to start, which, again, I'm not saying that he won't, because I do believe it's not a 0% possibility. But if he's going to start, his passing yards will be closer to the 3,500 range than the 4,000 range.
What Sean Payton's going to do is he's going to have Taysom Hill drives.
You're acting all right, guys. Though you're acting like 252 yards and some asinine number. That is not insane for him to pass for that. I'm not asking for him to throw for 400 yards a game here. It's 252 yards. Even Taysom can do that, and he can rush. These numbers are not out of the. These aren't the crazy freaking numbers I came up with Lamar Jackson. These are doable numbers. And you said he couldn't finish in the top 10. He did it 3 weeks last year. And I freaking proved it by having you bring it up. I'm sorry. Oh, 2. So 2 out of the 4. So he could still average out to in the top 10. So don't tell me it can't happen if he's the starter. If his ass is on the bench, obviously he's not going to be top 10. But if he's starting, it could happen.
So would you consider? All right, here we go. So you're saying that. How am I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Listen, JJ, we knew this was going to be happening. After this, it'll probably be more smooth sailing. So, true or false, do you think Taysom Hill is a better passer than Lamar Jackson?
No, I don't.
Oh, no.
But a better football player, though.
Stop.
Better football player. That's why he's going to start.
Do you think
oh my God.
that they are going to, if Taysom Hill is the full season starter, do you think that they are going to use Lamar Jackson as kind of like do you think he has a Lamar Jackson type season?
You just said Taysom Hill's a better football player than Lamar Jackson?
No.
JJ?
No.
I'm trying to get to a point here.
No. Did you say Lamar Jackson? Because I didn't mean Lamar Jackson.
Yes,
you meant Jameis Winston. I meant Jameis Winston. I'm sorry. I thought you meant Jameis Winston.
Okay.
No, he is definitely not a better football player than Lamar Jackson. That's not even close.
Okay. So the year that Lamar Jackson finished as the quarterback one out of all of football, he became the MVP. Do you know how many yards he threw for that year?
Go ahead.
500, right?
3,100.
Mm-hmm. How many rushing yards?
Yeah, 1,200.
Right.
And
so almost double then. Almost double. I don't have. Oh.
So you're saying he is going to have an MVP quality season. You're giving him 1,000 more rushing yards or passing yards. The same amount of rushing touchdowns in 400 less rushing yards.
Yes. It depends on also the format of your league, though, too, where if your passing yards are less. But, yes, he's going to have a very good year.
No, you're saying he's going to have an MVP caliber year. That is what you're saying. 400 less rushing yards. Same amount of rushing touchdowns.
He's going to have
1,000 more passing yards.
He's going to have a top 10 QB year, but Justin Herbert's going to be the MVP this year.
Okay, so you say top 10. Lamar Jackson finished as the number 10 quarterback last year.
Yep.
Would you like to know how many yards he threw for?
It was under 3,000.
It was under 3,000. And you're telling me how you have him statted right now that he's not going to be, I'm moving it, a top 3 quarterback?
Take those 4 games, stat it out. His numbers can come out to this. It is very optimistic, but it is possible.
You are, admit this. You are drafting Taysom Hill at his complete peak.
Oh, absolutely. And at his highest potential.
Okay, so this will never actually happen. Got it.
Bullshit.
Moving on. Right there. Those stats will never actually happen.
Oh, you both are going to be at the Waffle House if they do.
I fear that not at all. I up JJ's week, and I will go a month.
Anyway,
those numbers will not happen.
All right, let's move on to the rest of the players, and I'll just, salt Taysom Hill into this a little bit more after.
Alvin Kamara is going to have a great season. They're going to lean on the run more because of whoever the quarterback is. They don't want to give them that many opportunities. And, Alvin Kamara is just a passing madman. I've got Kamara rushing for 1,200 yards, and I got him for 97 receptions, probably somewhere around the 500-600 yard mark for receiving. I'm trying to move on, and you guys are making it impossible.
I'm just trying to process.
We got to move. We got to move quickly, boys. It's already been 45 minutes and we've done one team and one player.
Let's go.
Okay. All
right. Let's just do this for the Saints. Ready? Here's who you actually want on your fantasy football team. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and a good sleeper pick.
Adam Trautman.
Traquan Smith late too.
If Jameis Winston is the starter, yes.
I'll give you my rundown on stats really quick on everyone, okay? I've got Alvin Kamara at 200 attempts, 820 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 640 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. So he's going to be a very, very good running back, especially.
Those are good stats.
Yes. I've got Latavius Murray because Taysom Hill does like him a little bit at 150 attempts, 615 yards, 4 touchdowns, 140 yards receiving, 1 TD because Latavius Murray is talented and he will get on the field a little bit to help him out. Michael Thomas, 105 receptions, 1,300 yards, so very good year for him. And 8 TDs. Traquan, 40 receptions, 570 yards, 4 TDs. The rest of the wide receivers are irrelevant. Nick Vannett is going to be a blocking tight end. Trautman at 600 yards, 5 TDs.
I don't hate any of those. Do you hate any of that? Well, you only hate him because of who he has. All right, take your hatred away. If Taysom Hill is the starter, do you like the rest of those stats?
What Joe just said?
Yes.
No.
If Taysom Hill is the starter, no, that's right, because you think he's going to throw an interception every other pass. Never mind. We're moving on. We're moving on to the Atlanta Falcons.
He's a kick returner. He's a tight end.
We're moving on to the Atlanta Falcons. One more outburst and you're going to timeout, JJ.
You thought he was Tim Tebow or something.
Stop it. We're not.
Tim Tebow's a better quarterback.
Stop.
Bullshit.
I got an idea. You're both in timeout now. I'm getting through this. We're moving on to the Falcons. Their notable players are Matt Ryan. They got Mike Davis as the running back that they just brought in. Who knows who's actually going to be the running back for this team? Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, and that's about it for wide receivers. The third one on their depth chart with some Zacchaeus guy. They got Kyle Pitts, their rookie that they just brought in, and Hayden Hurst at tight ends. I can't read that. Hold on, I'm unmuting you both right now. We're going to stay on topic. We're going to stay on the Atlanta Falcons. What'd you have to say, JJ?
Falcons are an interesting team this year. No Julio. So obviously you've seen Calvin Ridley's rankings and stock go up. He did have a injury last year and he was a little banged up. So I think some people are a little weary of that, but he proved it. He can be a true one. And even without Julio on the field, he was still very effective and got open. So I like his outlook this year. You're not muted, Joe, so I don't know why you need a sign.
I needed a prop.
I guess that's the same logic you used when you made those Taysom Hill stats. But
you're the one that keeps telling us to hurry up, and then you keep going back to Taysom.
I can't let it slide. You can't. No. So, yeah, I don't mind the Falcons. I've talked about it a little before in our draft how I think it was our mock draft it's our sleeper episode when I talk about Javian Hawkins. I don't think Mike Davis is going to last. And I wouldn't be surprised if they made a move at running back this offseason. But I like Calvin Ridley. I like Kyle Pitts, but kind of like Ron's talked about before, you really have to take him high if you want him. I've seen him going in the 3rd round.
He was drafted, I believe, 2nd round in our dynasty. Maybe it was 3rd.
Joe got him, didn't he?
I got him.
Yeah.
I took him in the 4th, I believe, actually.
Oh, was it the 4th?
Yep.
Before George Kittle and Darren Waller? Right, okay.
No, only Tyree. Well, yes, because of the age in dynasty, dude. That's the only reason.
Right, the age of a 26-year-old Darren Waller was okay. Anyways.
21-year-old. Lasts longer.
Anyways, yeah, Calvin Ridley is the guy to have on this team at this moment. You can take the chance on Kyle Pitts. The only way I think Kyle Pitts actually has a great year is if they do line him up at wide receiver a lot. At that point, he's kind of a cheat code, I would say, for fantasy football. If he's lining up at wide receiver and they have Hayden Hurst lining up at tight end, which I do see a possibility for. But also it takes tight ends, even the great ones, normally a couple years to actually have decent seasons. And to prove my point, Evan Ingram had one of the best rookie tight end seasons ever, and he's Evan Ingram. And the only reason that happened is because every wide receiver on the Giants was injured that year, and Evan Ingram, when he came out, was being talked about just as much as Kyle Pitts is right now. Like, he didn't get drafted as high, but I believe he was still a top 10 draft pick. Was he?
Really, was
I
he?
thought he was. He was definitely a first rounder.
The yacht year or whatever.
You're the Giants fan. You tell us.
I don't remember. We've made a lot of weird picks, all right, lately. It's weird. Anyways, I'm not going to trust a rookie tight end. 23rd pick. I'm not going to trust a rookie tight end. I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do
it. They brought in Arthur Smith from the Titans, so he's coming out of that Derrick Henry offense where, they do a lot of play action stuff, and it makes some interesting opportunities for the tight end. So I think he could do some creative stuff with him. So he is a rookie. So I don't know.
Let me say this about him too. I said he was 21 in a really creepy sentence. I don't know how it came out so creepy, but it was creepy. Anyway, he's 20. So yes, in Dynasty format, he's 20 years old. So I will take 6 more years of production, even over Kittle, who is obviously proven for my Dynasty team. So yes, he is a better pick there. In Dynasty, not in regular snake drafts.
Who else did you get in your Dynasty at tight end?
I would take him over Kelsey, too.
I took him, Troutman, a lot later because I like Troutman, and there was a third one.
I guess my question is
Tremble.
Who are you starting week 1?
Kittle. I mean, Pitts. Pitts.
How many weeks will it take of Kittle just not producing?
You mean Pitts?
Yeah, you did it. Then I did it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Of Pitts not producing for you to drop him, or not drop him. I'm sorry. That was the wrong word. To bench him and then worry about your tight end spot.
Well, I drafted Troutman later, who I think will be decent too. So 2 or 3 weeks, I would probably bench him, see how he does. But like I said, I see him as a very good long-term add-on. So if he doesn't produce right away, that's okay.
Well, I was actually looking at your team the other day while I was at work. I was just looking at everyone's teams.
Because you got to look at a genius's team, right? So,
well, my thing is, like, you have all of your tight ends are
young
question marks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very solid chance that if you don't add someone this year, you're not going to have, you're going to have very minimal production at your tight end.
Kyle Pitts is going to be the number 2 guy in this offense, so he'll produce, and Troutman is potentially the number 2 target in the Saints. Someone will clear there. I'll be able to play one of them.
The main word there is potentially.
Right, but I've got 2 potential starters, so I'm not that concerned about it.
But the thing is,
the tight end position is usually
I'm not saying that either one of them or that they're both are definitely going to fail. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But both of them are unproven.
Very.
Don't you think it would have been a smart strategy to, and I understand it's Dynasty.
No, because I'm building a team that's going to be very successful down the line, and both of them are very young and build up potential. In a snake draft, potentially, yes. But you don't really focus on the tight end in that spot either, though, because I like to take them late, and I might play the waiver wire. So, no, it is not a bad strategy in Dynasty, and it is not a bad strategy in Snake because I'll just drop them there and pick someone else. I'm not worried about it.
I disagree with you on the Dynasty thing because they need – I'm not saying that they're both not talented. I'm not saying that neither one of them could do something this year. That's not what I'm saying. Kyle Pitts is an amazing athlete. He could very well come out and play super good.
Yep.
But he is a rookie tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Troutman is unproven, and you only think that he could break out. Kyle Pitts, he's an amazing athlete. He's going to a great situation. That has happened plenty of times in the NFL draft or in the NFL, and that player just fizzled out and has done absolutely nothing.
Listen to this.
So my point is, I get taking Kyle Pitts that early, the young, the potential, I get it. But later in the draft, instead of taking more potential, why would you not have taken, right, that's what I mean. Why would you not consider taking someone who's proven, maybe a little bit older, could only have a couple years left, maybe not great anymore, but more consistent and...
Okay, let me give you the answer to that. So 2 things. Like I said, I'm going to reaffirm the point that it's a dynasty league. I'm looking for long-term potential. I want to be the New England Patriots of the league. 2, tight end is not the most important position in this. I wanted to fill out my wide receiver and running back spots as opposed to the tight end. If I approach that problem and I've got no tight ends and I'm potentially going to make a run at the playoffs, maybe I'll trade for one. There's potential for that because you could trade draft picks into that. I'm not concerned about it. If I suck, guess what? My tight ends will potentially be a lot better down the line, and I'm going to be in a better position going into the year after that. But there is a lot of opportunity for them to be good on a lot of potential because there's a lot of targets on both of those teams based on the players that left there. Both of them could potentially be the number 2 targets in those offense. So one of them's going to hit. One of them is going to be starting for me, and I think it'll be fine.
I'm gonna use your own words against you right at this moment.
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, we know, JJ. We know. We see it. I'm going to say one more thing. I'm going to use your own words against you, Joe. You said you want to be the New England Patriots of the Dynasty League.
Mm-hmm.
And I get where you're going with that. But last year, the Patriots relied on rookie tight ends that did nothing. This year, they went out and got 2 proven tight ends because that's what they wanted on their team.
No, one of them wasn't Kyle Pitts. Anyway, so let me go over the stats really quick I've got for the Falcons and we'll move on, okay? So I've got Matt Ryan at 4,400 yards this year, 258 yards a game, 25 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 100 yards rushing, 2 TDs. Mike Davis, 900 yards, 200 attempts, 7 touchdowns, 300 yards receiving, 2 DDs. JVN Hawkins, 400 yards, 80 attempts, 3 touchdowns, 35 receptions. Calvin Ridley, 1,450 yards. He is the bravado number 1, 10 touchdowns, 102 receptions. Russell Gage, 700 yards, 5 touchdowns. I'm not going over Christian Blake because he's going to be insignificant.
Time out. Did you say Ridley was going to have 102 receptions?
Yes.
I love it. I think that's completely possible. I love it.
Yep. Kyle Pitts, optimism. Chill out. Not 1,000 yards. Don't worry about it, but I've got him at 997 yards, 80 receptions, 7 touchdowns.
Ceiling. But I'm okay with that.
Good ceiling. JJ says
you don't think that's a ceiling? You think a ceiling could be more?
I really 59 yards a game isn't shit. And their defense is garbage. Absolute garbage. They didn't address it at all. They're going to have to throw the hell out of the ball.
I wish I could have got more of this division statted.
Hayden Hurst.
I would love to see where I got him.
Hayden Hurst, 350 yards, 29 receptions, 2 DDs. Stat it out. We'll put it on the Instagram, okay? But you can do that later.
No, you keep talking. I can probably do it right quick.
That's what I've got. So I'm very optimistic with Kyle Pitts, who is he is a favorite to talk about on the show because he's just so fun to think about what he could do. Rookie tight ends don't typically do anything, but he is not going to be the norm. He's going to be fantastic. So the shit the Ron was giving me for it, I'm going to look like a genius in the Dynasty League taking him. Yes, it's not the most important position for your team, but when you're looking at a Dynasty thing, you're looking at long-term potential. I've got a 20-year-old tight end with all the potential in the world. And that's including on this team, I've got Calvin Ridley too. And I'm looking for the Vikings wide receiver who's 22 years old, and he's escaping my name right now.
Justin Jefferson?
Yes, I've got Jefferson too. So I've got young potential, and it's a team that can last a long time. So I love my team currently. I'm a little scared about the QB position, but I like the rest of my positions.
So what
Joe? You got Taysom Hill.
You consider a good catch percentage for a tight end? What's a good catch percentage for a tight end? 70?
That's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I've got him at 80 receptions. So.
Okay, so what I just added him out was 79 receptions.
One less than me.
We'll give him a modest what? 9 yards per catch?
Whatever you want, I guess.
I mean, so 79 receptions with 9 yards per catch average would be 715 yards.
That's okay. That's a pretty decent. That's a
So
very good rookie year.
You had him at what? Like 800 yards?
997 yards.
So you've got him around a little over 12
Mm-hmm.
yards per catch. That's not bad. All right, we'll move on to the Panthers before JJ has a heart attack or his leg
You were
falls
giving me
off.
shit for 10 minutes about Kyle Pitts. You gave him 715 yards. That's a good year for a tight end. So anyway, it's not a stupid pick for me. So anyway, yeah, Panthers.
I'm not saying that the Kyle Pitts one was a stupid pick. The fact that you didn't get anybody later,
Don't need to.
just in case.
Troutman.
That was my point. I was trying to give good fantasy advice as to not take wild card after wild card for a position.
It's okay in Dynasty leagues to do that. That's why you have 27 picks.
Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
All right. So run it down who I've got from their depth chart. Sam Darnold, their new quarterback. They've got this slacker at running back that's Christian McCaffrey. They just picked up Chuba Hubbard in the draft, who'll probably be starting by week 1. Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore as their top 2 wide receivers, and nothingness at tight end. Did I miss anybody?
No. I've got a little bit of a surprise for tight end because we've been surprising with them all night. So,
Jesus.
it's not that bad.
So I've got these guys. I'm not running very many plays per game. I don't know what to think, I guess, about the Panthers. Someone.
It's up to one man. A former Jet.
All right. Yeah, it's up to Sam Darnold, no doubt. I honestly, he'll be all right this year, but it could potentially lose him the job just being all right, which kind of sucks because I do like Sam Darnold. But I've got him satted out at 3,800 yards. He's leaving Adam Gase, so he'll have a lot of passing yards, but it's at 223.52 yards a game, 23 touchdowns. Unfortunately, 17 interceptions, though. It's going to be rough for rushing. So he could be okay for fantasy as a fill-in, but it's not going to set up to him potentially being a starter down the road. And did you go over the rest of the team too, Ron? Because I can go over the rest really quick if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So his only saving grace that might help him, Christian McCaffrey. 1,200 yards, going to stay healthy, going to be a beast this year. 12 touchdowns, 700 yards receiving. This might lead to him being the number 1 running back in the league.
Yeah.
I didn't predict that, but statting it out, it really might change my mind on that coming down to our draft later on. I've got Chuba Hubbard at 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, nothing more than a change of pace at this point. DJ Moore really breaking out a little bit more, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. I've got Robbie Anderson at 950 yards and 5 TDs. David Moore is the next wide receiver I've got there, 450 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I think Tommy Tremble will get on the field about halfway through the year. The rookie tight end, he's pretty good. 400 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Isn't he on your dynasty team, Joe?
He is.
Yeah, it's one of the 3 wild cards he took at tight end. So 2 rookies, and then someone who was buried on the depth chart before.
Correct.
Who's a blocking tight end?
400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Anyway, what do you think's going to happen here, JJ?
I don't know how Darnold's going to be. I think he'll probably be kind of inconsistent, but I think your numbers on the receivers are a little low for 17 games. Robbie Anderson hit 1,000 yards last year with Teddy Trashwater throwing the ball. So I think he'll be okay. DJ Moore, he didn't have a lot of receptions, but he was so good after the catch. He's a great receiver. So I think both of them can go over 1,000 yards. We talked about earlier how the 17 games, how we'll see a lot of dual 1,000-yard receivers. I think that happens here. And then Terrace Marshall, it'll be interesting to see him back with Joe Brady. So they have some weapons. They just locked up their tackle long-term. They got McCaffrey. Obviously, there's a lot of potential there. It's just, can Darnold put it together with Joe Brady? So,
And I'm excited to
I
see
think they
that.
can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because Darnold was a high draft pick, and he went to a team that was in complete dysfunction, and he actually played decent his rookie year. Like, it wasn't horrible. And if I remember correctly, Gase was not there his rookie year, right?
He was not.
Mm,
He was
Right. Gase came in his second year, and then all of a sudden, Darnold took a step back with injuries and other things. And again, with last year, he had a couple other things and just played bad. So, I just want to see if the Gase effect was truly in effect with Sam Darnold, because I feel like there's a potential he could come out and just blow everyone away, and people would be like, well, there we go again, another stellar player that was stifled by Adam Gase.
Ryan Tannehill 2.0.
Right? Yeah, I'm maybe not like as the same, but let's look at it. Let's see, what did Ryan Tannehill do? Oh, he went to a team with a great running back.
Christian, yeah.
He went to a team with and got good wide receivers. Like,
Well, good offensive line too.
good offensive line. And that's kind of what Darnold is going into, getting away from Gase. Great running back, really great wide receivers, better than what Ryan Tannehill got.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So-
when Ryan Tannehill went there, A.J. Brown wasn't there yet. I don't believe. He was a rookie.
Yeah.
He was a rookie. Yep. Okay,
So-
yeah.
So let me address a few things that JJ said first, and then I'll get to Sam Darnold a little bit more. So regarding the 1,000-yard receivers, I've got DJ Moore at 1,100, Robbie Anderson at 950. The reason why I've got Robbie Anderson at 950 is Christian McCaffrey's coming back. I've got him at 700 yards receiving.
True, but
That is going to take away a little bit of work. It's got to come away from someone, so I think it'll be Robbie. The coach that was there the first year was Todd Bowles, a defensive-minded coach who would flip-flop offensive coordinators his first few years, and that happened Darnold's rookie year too. So that's where you saw a lack of production, and then went through the shit show, clown show of Adam Gase. So him becoming potentially Ryan Tannehill 2.0, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I think he is very talented. I just hope it's not too little too late, but he has everything here to succeed. A good offensive coordinator, good weapons, good offensive line. I wish him all the best. I think he's going to have an average year, but an average year might get him benched for someone a little bit better. Which
he literally has every advantage, like the weapons, the coaches.
Yeah.
Also, you leave New York and go to Carolina on a team that everyone has no expectations for. Literally, people aren't even thinking about Sam Darnold. He should, if he's got any talent, he should put together a season similar to Joe's Taysom Hill stats. So,
yeah. We did it. If you stayed with us through everything, you got really great breakdown of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a lot of talk about Taysom Hill, and then some Kyle Pitts, and very little Panthers, and
a supreme amount of yelling.
If you were looking for arguing,
You got it.
you got it. It was probably one of our most argumentative podcasts for these breakdowns yet.
Perfect.
But we haven't got
guys just agreeing about everything the last couple episodes. It was
and we didn't even plan it. It just happened. Like, it was so wild.
Yeah, this was the division to get JJ back on the fold because we disagree on many things about these teams.
All right. That was the NFC South breakdown. Please go to our website. It's on the bottom ticker, www.garbagetimeff.com. Leave us a voicemail or a hate mail.
We like hate mail.
Probably get quite a few hate mails maybe after this one.
one thing. When we were talking about when you guys were talking about Christian's voicemails, he has never come at me. The first one he went at Ron, I believe. He said,
yeah, I think so. I was wondering that. I couldn't remember. So Christian, now's the time. All right. JJ just called you out saying that you can't find any of his stuff that is trash. So you've been called out yet again, Christian. Or anybody else. If anybody else can think of something that JJ has done trash, or me or Joe.
You might regret that.
It's fun. Please, like I said, www.garbagetimef.com. Leave us voicemails. Leave us a review. You can see there everywhere we are available. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Simplecast, iTunes, pretty much anywhere that podcasts are on, we are there.
Don't we have a sister show too?
I getting to it.
I don't care.
No, where's the host? I haven't seen him.
Doing MMA.
Is there a show? I don't know.
Is there a show? Does it happen? All right. So yeah, our sister show, Garbage Time presents the MMA podcast. Go check that out. Same places. It's also is the link working on our website? I know you said at one point it wasn't.
Nope,
it is. Okay. So the link is working. If you had tried using it before, it wasn't working. We now have it working.
I laid down the law. It's working.
Yeah, go be part of our heckling fandom. It's a good time. Subscribe on our YouTube where you can now see our lovely faces. That's JJ. He's also ugly, just like the rest of us. Subscribe on there. Leave us comments on there. We will respond to anything we can get. Maybe sometime we'll start going actually live. We'll see how we feel about it. I don't know why.
Feel free to scream at us in the voicemails. We will totally take it.
I don't know why we don't go live. It's not like we edit anything anyways. So it's not like it's a big deal. We don't remove anything. If it happens, it happens. Half the time, I'm not even looking at the screen. And then I realize, oh, I'm not looking at the screen. I should probably do that once in a while.
Maybe down the line.
We'll get better. I mean, we can't get any worse. So do that stuff. We're done wasting JJ's time. I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, whenever you're listening to this. Actually, I don't care. Anything else, boys?
Good night and try to sleep.
Drop that end clip.